And welcome into a brand new episode of the 314 Sports Show right here on 314 Sports. Thank you for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. My name is Brandon. You got James with me tonight. It'll be the two of us for a good chunk of tonight's show
Yep.
as well. So no biggie. We're gonna talk some Blues, some city, a little bit of city if we can, and then some Cardinals baseball if we can get Josh whenever he's available. He can come into the show to talk about what's going on with Nolan Gorman, even though he hit a grand slam last night. And is
Mhm.
it time? Is it time to let Giovanni Galagos go? All that, tons of stuff, but let's get started. I know that's a tough one, right? It's not really a tough one in my eyes. I think, yeah, I agree. I think it's time for him to uh, DFA him, basically. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but we'll get to all that first. But let's talk about one of the big news, or some of the big news of the week for this one. And let's talk about this big one here, and that's Pavel Buchnevich, 6-year contract extension starting next season in the 2024-25-26 season. He's already has 1 year left in this contract this year. James, how do you feel? I know we've heard your thoughts, throughout the last couple days on this. So how do you think about this one? What do you think about this one?
Well, Brandon, I think it's really the best of both worlds in this situation. So, my biggest stepping point on them re-signing Buchnevich was the fact that he was going to look for the max contract, 8 years, and somewhere around $8 million a year. But they were able to work it out to where, and this is a telltale sign of like how cool of a guy Buchnevich is. He literally tells his agent, like, look, I know where I stand. I want to see where I stand in, 6 years. So they came down the middle to say 5 or 6 years. And, the Blues did kind of cave and go 6 years on this situation. I think they wanted 4 or 5, but it ended up being 6. But you're getting, your arguably your best winger, one of your best all around players for a good price. Some people might think it's a lot, but if you look at the market and the first day of free agent signing, like they're getting a steal from this guy. So
Right.
you got him locked up for the next 6 years. And at least the first 3 to 4 years are going to be his best years you're going to get. And even in the tail end of the deal, the last two, it's modified to be less than that amount. It's going to be somewhere around like $5 or $6 million a year after then, the last couple of years.
His last year, so 2029 is 8 million, 2029 to 2030 is 8 million, 2030 to 31 is 5 million. So his last year, the last year of the contract is the only year where it's below that $8 million mark.
Right.
So other than that, you got it's 8 mil and 25, 26, 6 mil and 26. Well, I shouldn't say that was because there's a 6 mil in here for 26, 27. Then it jumps up to 10 million for the 27, 28 season, 11 million for 28, 29, and then 8 million for the 29, 30, 5 million for 30, 31. So it's an interesting contract extension, the way they have it kind of like have it broke up. And with we talked about it all the last couple of days, how they were going to like kind of figure out his contract, if this was going to be a thing. And everybody kind of, I think, figured or assumed it was going to happen at some point, that this contract extension was going to take place for Pablo in the Blues. But I mean, is you give the guy a no trade clause again? Is this something that's going to bite the Blues? Where they don't want to be bid again?
But this is just what the modern NHL is. Yeah. All these guys are wanting these deals, and let's face it, St. Louis is not Miami. It's not Tampa Bay. It's not like a premier destination. It's not Vegas. They have sales tax. They have a lot of different odds and ends. So they have to make it more, I guess, more of a sexy pick. And they got to do that with either more money or make it a good no trade clause. And that's just the way it's going to be. That's the business of the NHL now. These guys don't have, the GMs don't have, they have power. But they don't have significant power to where they say, oh, you don't want that? Well, good luck. You won't find anywhere else. They will. Buchnevich, if he goes to free market next year, he probably would have gotten a 6 or 7 year deal, probably close to $10 million a year. Yeah. But he's staying here. And yeah, there's going to be some things that may bite us at the end. But at the end of the day, I think it's the best deal that they're going to get for a player like him.
Right. Yeah, and it makes sense to keep. I think if they wouldn't have kept Buchnevich, I think we definitely would have seen a rebuild style going on for the next year or two, at least until. And I don't want to keep harping on these young guys that are coming up in Snuggerud and Dvorsky, but at the same time, you have to look at the bright, the future that the Blues have with this, and in just where it could be, and by the time his Buchnevich's contract is up, Kairu's and Thomas's will be pretty much over at the time, right before Pavel Buchnevich's contract really hits the salary cap, and by then the salary cap should be at least or close to that 100. I think it was the 100 million mark, something like that, around there.
Yeah.
By that, like 27, 28 or 28, 29 NHL season. Imagine it's going to get close to that mark by that point in time.
Yeah. If the average salary cap increases $4 million a year, you're going to get to that $100 million mark at the tail end of that contract. So at the end of the day, that contract will be considered to be like 7% of the payroll at that point, which is, nothing.
Yeah. So it's going to be your typical, by that time, like contracts are going to be $10 million a year, $11 million a year for the annual average value. When the salary cap gets to that $100 million mark, that's the type of contracts we're going to see that are just normal contracts. There's nothing special about them. It's just what they are. So, outside of Pavel signing his contract contract extension with the Blues today, or Blues yesterday, I should say, there was some new additions that made the Blues roster, and that was Radek Foska, and then you have Matthew Joseph, and then Pierre Oliver.
Yeah,
Pierre Oliver, Joseph as well, which are brothers. Kind of interesting pickups there. All on the lower side. They're going to be fourth line. I believe Pierre Oliver is a defenseman.
Yes, Pierre Oliver is a defenseman.
Yep. His brother is a forward. He plays left wing, right wing.
Yep.
Radek Foska is the center left wing guy there. So how do you feel about these new faces here with the Blues? You're looking at guys who don't necessarily score a lot, but they bring, at least with Foska, he brings a little bit of that, kind of veteran experience to the locker room and whatnot, and a little bit of grittiness as well.
Right. So the best thing about these guys, and when I first heard this, these are the guys where you have to be like, okay, I got to start digging for these people. Yeah. But what I get out of it is the Joseph brothers are both very quick. They said that Pierre Oliver actually has a lot of good offensive skill. He just kind of had a bad season last year with Pittsburgh.
Right.
And I almost got to feel like Pittsburgh probably wasn't the best situation from the way, like, he wasn't taken care of too well. He kind of fell out of favor. And then by the end of the year, he wasn't even dressing. So,
right.
Pierre Oliver is going to be more of that. I think it's going to be more of that reclamation project. And, his brother Matthew is kind of that same way. He's one guy. They said he throws the body around really well. He's a fast guy. He's good with that. He's good with the shot blocking. I think he had something like over 100+ block shots last year.
Right.
So those two screen to me that you've got some defensive ability, but also some penalty killing ability.
Yeah.
So that's going to be nice. You get these type of players, and then Foska is also the same way. He's a beast. He was over 54% in faceoff percentage last year for the Dallas Stars. He played a lot of good minutes. He's a big body. He's over 6'3". Like, he's a beast of a human being, and he's younger than Kevin Hayes. Because I know some people are like, well, we gave this stuff for Kevin Hayes, but you're getting a better center in Foska than you are with Kevin Hayes. So that's a good thing. So what we're getting here, it's depth. This is not like, don't expect these guys to be Hart Trophy candidates anytime soon. But
yeah,
these are the type of players you get that help grow your younger guys. That forces the younger guys to be in those top 6 roles. That is where they need to be. I'd rather see, Dvorsky be in the top 6 as a winger as opposed to being the 3rd or 4th line center. That doesn't help us. It doesn't help his development either. These guys will push that development for those younger guys forward in a better fashion.
Right. Yeah, I think the addition of these 2 guys, you're looking at it. I think you're gonna look at a little addition of speed as well with at least with Matthew Joseph, or even Foska. I know he's a little bit older. He's been in the league for 8 or 9 years already. So it doesn't surprise me that the Blues made these kind of depth moves. To be honest, again, I think they're good moves. I think they're I think they'll help more than a lot of people think they're going to. Even though we might not hear their name on the scoreboard every night or every other night or anything like that. It's just having that little bit of physical presence that the Blues kind of lacked last year. In my eyes, at least.
Yeah. These guys aren't. Matthew and Foster are not afraid to throw the body around.
Right.
So that's gonna be a nice compliment. And again, I think Pierre Oliver, he's got a little bit of offensive flair.
Yeah.
Obviously, he'll be that 3rd pairing. But if you put him with like Justin Falk because he's a lefty, then that's good. That's a good. That's gonna be a really decent defensive pairing. Because if you keep Kessel with Crew together as a 2nd pairing, well, you're getting a lot of balance, I would say.
Yeah. So I think these pickups are a good move for the Blues and something that we should all look forward to coming into the season, at least in the 24-25 season. At least it should be nice solid pickups here. So we'll go from there. You had the opportunity to go to the Blues development camp or prospect camp for a little bit the other day. Tell us a little bit about that. What did you see? What impressed you the most with some of the young guys that we probably won't see at the NHL level outside of maybe Dollar or Dvorsky next year?
Right. I think you could probably pencil in Dvorsky to be in this team in this coming season. A little bit. I didn't get to see him when I was there, but I saw a lot of video afterwards, and that kid's money, man. He's got all the skills. He's a different world. But the number one guy that I got to see Jimmy Snuggerud, and he is legit. The kid has great skating ability, stick handling. He's gonna be fun to see in next year, the year after. Also got to see Otto Steinberg, and the other 1st-round pick last year. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot his name. Is it Theo Lidstein?
Theo Lidstein.
Yeah, Theo Lidstein. Mark my words. We're going to see him next year. That guy has skill. Like just the drills, I got to watch them. So a lot of the drills, like a lot of people who know or don't know hockey, there's a lot of different shooting drills they do. It's not just about scoring a goal. It's about the placement of the puck. So this was a deflection drill. So you get the 2 forwards in the back, the 2 players in the deep corner, and then you get the 1 guy at the point. At this time, I was watching Lidstein at the point. They pass it out to him. He skates over to the middle of the ice, and every time he went for that shot, it was low and right at the goalie skates, perfect for a deflection. And they got at least 2 deflections perfect out of it. So the guy can place the puck wherever he wants to. That is legit awesome to watch. So those are the top 3. Also got to see Adam Fisher. I think that was his name. Yeah. He's Yuri Fisher's son. He looked good too. And again, you know the difference between the guys who are your 1st rounders, who are your 3rd, 4th rounders. Like the skill level is all different, but it's fun to watch because all those kids, you're talking like probably 50 to 60% of them are going to be wearing the blue note in 5 years.
Right.
So, it's a great time to watch. And like I said, I liked watching those guys and seeing Stenberg and Lidstein and Snuggerud like just handle the puck and play the game. Like it just gets me excited to watch this team in the next few years.
Yeah. I agree. I'm really looking forward to Dvorsky. I think he's going to be a very, Tarasenko-ish type player.
Right.
That doesn't leave St. Louis, hopefully, but has that skill level of being, being a very, very, very solid producing NHL player for the
Right.
Blues in the coming years. And you have Snuggerud there too, and there's always his name's going to be thrown into the trade talks, especially when you're looking at getting some of the bigger names like the Brady Kachucks or anything like that.
Right.
So his name's always going to be thrown around in there because of guys like that, like Dvorsky, who you can look at now and be like, yeah, this guy's going to be good. At the NHL level, at least he's going to be good. So I think there's a lot of positive side of things. Lou Korak said this was the best prospect camp he's seen since the days of like Pietrangelo, Tarasenko. Who else was all in that group? There was tons. There was tons of them.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, you got Jaden Schwartz, and there's a huge group of them. You know, and then it eventually turned into Colton Parayko, Joel Edmondson. The one thing I'll give the Blues a lot of credit for is they're good at drafting where they land. They always pick good, solid players. Every once in a while, one's a little bit of a gamble. Back when they drafted Tarasenko, he was a gamble because they didn't know if he'd go away from his contract with the KHL at the time. So that turned out to be a good thing. And he's gone now, but that's all right.
Yeah. It happens. It's going to be part of it. It's what it is. So, and whatnot. So, any final thoughts on anything Blues related or whatnot?
No, nothing really comes to mind right now. Again, just right in the middle of the off season for them now. We'll see what pans out before training camp in September.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're going to take a quick little short break. When we come back, we're going to talk some City SC, and they're up 2-0 on the San Jose Earthquakes tonight, which is a good thing. So we'll send this off to our unofficial commercial break, and we'll be back here in about 20 seconds or so. We're back here at the 3 and 4 Sports Show. My name is Brandon. I got James with me tonight. We're going to talk some City SC. Like we just mentioned, they're up 2-0 on San Jose tonight already. You get a goal by Edwin Lawin and then a goal by Kajima as well, the 41st minute here. They're almost wrapped up with the first half of the game so far, but let's talk about what happened this week. There was a couple big things. The first one being that the City, the City SC relieved Bradley Carnell of his head coaching duties for the team after a struggle at the start of struggle in basically the second half of last season. That saw them get bounced out by Sporting KC in round 1 of the MLS playoffs, and it kind of continued into this year a little bit. The 10 draws, which is the highest, I think in MLS right now. Only 3 wins, the 7 losses as well are thrown in there. So they haven't won. I shouldn't say they haven't won because I said this the other day and I had to correct myself. They've won 5 or 6 games of the last 30-something matches, or 20-something matches, 28 matches, something like that. This had to play an effect to why he was let go from City SC, right, James?
Yeah, I mean I was looking in Twitter about this because my information on City SC is not as good as other guys around here, but he's really kind of a victim of the success of last year.
Yeah,
this team came out of the woodworks. They weren't supposed to be as good as they were. They were, and they're like, oh man, the coaches do a great job. The team's playing great. Now you fast forward, and this team's underperforming. And a lot of people have said this is a mistake by City, and I kind of agree with it. They could ride out the storm. He's a coach for a season and a half, and they go ahead and can him.
Right.
For what reason, I don't know. And now they're saying they're looking for a young coach who doesn't, who could grow with the team. Bradley Carnell was that coach, and now you're looking for Bradley Carnell again.
Yeah, and the guy that they have as the interim head coach, he's the technology or something. He's been with the organization with City SC since the start of things, back in 2021, 22.
Right. Right.
So he's been around the organization as well. But yeah, I agree. I think this is kind of like a knee-jerk reaction to the way City has been playing this year. You look at all the injuries that occurred with the team as well throughout the season.
Right.
I don't think it's fair for Bradley to take the hit on this, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be an expansion. I mean, this is literally an expansion team. So, like, and I'm not trying to bring back hockey, but if you think of it this way, like Seattle Kraken were, 3 years in, and they relieved their head coach. This is when they had kind of an off season. They had a great second season, third season. They just missed the playoffs. They fired the coach. Yeah. Like, you got to give this guy a chance to get through the muddy waters. You can't just push him into the mud because they get stuck. Like, you got to fight through a little bit and then reevaluate the end of the season. But now this team is in just a weird flux that, they're close to the playoffs. They're not there, but they're within striking distance of making the playoffs still. And you've gotten rid of your head coach. I think they pulled the trigger way too early on this.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting. The general manager guy of Lutz, I don't even know how to say his last name. I was just going to call him Lutz. Basically, he came out during the press conference on Tuesday that if they would have won Saturday against Vancouver, he wouldn't have lost his job. Yeah.
Do we tell Bradley Carnell that? I mean,
imagine he has to already know. That's that came out on Tuesday. But that was a game. But if you look at it, that was a winnable game. They were up 2-0, and then they allowed 4 straight goals.
They should have won that game.
They should have won that game.
Yeah, they should have 100%. But now the team's in a little bit of mediocrity. They got to figure their way out of this. However, maybe the coaching change will get them out of it. I don't know.
Yeah, because they're up 2-0. It's halftime now. In the game against San Jose. Look at like some of the moves that they do make or have made, at least in one of them was bringing in Marcel Hartel from St. Pauli over in Germany. Seems like a really good signing. It was a free transfer signing, so they have him through 2020, at least till June of 2028. With the club option to keeping him on the team through the rest of the 2028 season. It did cost him around $240,000 from the transfer, or not a transfer fee, but basically a finder's fee almost.
Yeah.
I
was reading about this finder's fee thing. It's crazy. It's basically the major league version saying I got dibs on that one.
Yeah, basically. If they ever decide to come over, to the MLS, this is what's this is our guy. Like we get first shots at him, and whatnot. Which I agree. It's kind of a weird. It's different. You don't typically see that. Too often here. But in this 33 matches in the 2023-24 season, he had 17 goals, 12 assists with over in St. Pauli this past season. So it seems like it's a good guy to bring on. You're already adding Cedric Touchard as well to the lineup, and the younger guy out of Australia too. So you get a couple of hopeful sparks, at least for City SC. Again, he's not available though till July 18th.
That's what I was getting ready to ask. Like that because of their portal or however this works.
Yeah, it's the MLS transfer window, so he's not available till July 18th, which is not too far away. I believe it's a game against Kansas or Sporting KC too, at Sporting KC. So you get those guys to come in at that time of the year. You get a little bit of a playoff push. Are you excited to see Hartel on the field? I know you've been to City Park once or twice, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I've heard a lot of good things about Hartel. I heard he's a great striker, got a lot of good offensive ability, so it's gonna be cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be fun to continue to keep adding some of these offensive, or what we hope are offensive, offensive firepowers. And
Right.
that's a bummer. Dang, Cardinals ended up losing 5-4.
Oh gosh, dang it.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
And, see if Josh is gonna hop on, but we'll see. Yep. If not, we'll just move on.
Hey, one other did you hear the other City SC news?
I saw. Yes, I saw that. Yeah. Pavel Buchnevich's son, I don't remember his first name, was signed by Lucas. That's right, Lucas Dimitra was signed by City SC or City 2. So basically, they're MLS Next Pro. So next in line, the minor league system, basically. Yeah. I did see that today. There was a couple of guys that were signed, him being one of them. So it's really cool to see that happen, and to see Pavel Buchnevich's son playing in St. Louis after what happened with Pavel and the Dimitri family. It's really cool to see that kind of come back around, and for Luke to be playing in St. Louis. Right.
I'm excited. I'm really happy for the family. I think that's cool.
Yeah, it'll be a fun time. Fun time for them as well. To get back to come back to St. Louis as well. I'm sure it's going to bring up a lot of really, really good memories. Them too. So it'll be a really cool thing. But yeah, there was some of those like smaller signings as well. I know Wenzel got called up today, basically for City SC as well. So he's in the lineup tonight. I don't know how much he'll actually play, but he is in the lineup as well for City SC in tonight's game. It's probably going to be. I think it sounds like he's going to be there the rest of this season.
Okay, good.
See what happens. He seems like another young guy that's going to help City SC out in the long run.
Yeah.
At least that's always the hope. At least it's always the hope. So again, they're at halftime right now, up 2-0 on San Jose Earthquakes with the goal by Lowen and Kajima. So far, it could be it's a big win. It could be a big win in this one. You're looking at a San Jose team with 3 wins, along with City, who has 3 wins as well. Luckily, all those draws have come into play just a little bit when it comes to the points. So take a look at the standings or the table really quick, if I can pull it up here. I get it to pull up. So they have 19 points. They're 9 away now from Seattle, who sits in that final playoff position, or 7 across the board, so 7 wins, 7 ties, 7 losses.
Okay.
City is now 9 points out of a big. So yeah, it'd be a huge win for City to get to pick up 3 points tonight against a team that they should beat in San Jose. But it shows how important that win would have been against Vancouver, because you would have got those 3 points in Vancouver. You'd have had yourself at 22 points. You'd have got another 3 possible points tonight, put you at 25. Yeah. You would have been right there in the thick of things for that final playoff spot. So hopefully they can get there and get to that spot and get themselves into the playoffs. So and whatnot. Any final things on City?
Nothing comes to mind right now. They got to get a win. I want to see them get back in the playoffs and try and do something here. It'll be good. They need the City. The fans and the team need this boost. They need that. So this will help.
Yeah. So we're gonna take another quick little break right here, 314 Sports Show, and we'll talk some Cardinals baseball when we come back. As they fall tonight to the Pittsburgh Pirates 5-4 in 10 innings. We'll talk about some things when we come back. I gotta figure out. I gotta change that up a little bit. I like it. It gives a little break and stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
So again, the Cardinals fall to the Pittsburgh Pirates tonight, 5-4 in 10 innings. Fall down to, I think it was at 44-41 now on the season. Let me get out of the MLS stuff. Jump over here to the Cardinals as well. But the big thing we got to talk about, at least the big thing I wanted to talk about tonight, was, do the Cardinals have an issue with Nolan Gorman? He hasn't been hitting. He has not hit very well in June, but apparently, from the looks of it, this is a common thing for Nolan Gorman, that he doesn't hit very well in June. Do you think it's a problem, James?
I think it's a big problem. You need him to. I guess what drives me crazy is every time they say, like, well, it's like when they always say Paul Goldschmidt, like, well, Goldschmidt's always a good player when it gets warm. Like, you play a summer sport, for the love of God, people. Right. It shouldn't matter. And the same thing with Gorman, like, oh, I can't hit in June. Well, right now you're not hitting in July either. Like, he's such a, he's literally like, the Ricky Bobby of this team, where it's either he hits a home run or he doesn't hit at all. It's one or the other. Big home run or just break his bat. Like, when you're under 200, you're literally batting under 200. That's the Mendoza line. That's the one where, that's the one where everyone says, like, man, you don't want to be under that.
Yeah.
But they're still putting him out there every day. Like, something has got to give. I think there's a huge issue with him. I think he is not producing for this team. They need him to produce. And they need, because you're not getting enough from Goldschmidt. You're not getting enough from Arenado. Yep. Alec Burleson to some extent, Wilson Contreras, before he got hurt, has been the only people on this team, the only guys on this team that have contributed substantially. And, I'm shocked to say this, but if it wasn't for the pitching, there's no way we'd be competing where we are right now. Right. So the pitching has literally saved this team. So Gorman is, yes, there's an issue with Gorman, but really it's the story of this whole team. The offense just is not producing the way they need to. And again, this is a cry for help. They got to do something. Yeah,
it's not looking to, it's like I just mentioned, he's batting a 2 or a 189. He went 0 for 4 in tonight's game as well. So it's not like he's exceeding expectations outside of his one home run yesterday. Because, his last, I'm trying to pull up some more stats and stuff on him here. At least over like the last few games. So again, 0 for 4 tonight. He went 2 for 4 last night. He had a big grand slam to help the Cardinals move on, or help not the Cardinals move on, but help get a big win in Pittsburgh last night. Game before that against Cincinnati is 0 for 4. Game before that, 1 for 3, 0 for 3, 0 for 1, 0 for 2, 0 for 3, 1 for 4, 0 for 4. Rough season.
And this season. Yeah. And just watching the way he approaches his bats, it's literally like, I'm just going to swing it, whatever. Like, there is no, it's like there's no thought process, no anything to change up. Like, it's a bad situation, and he's got to figure out what he's doing. He's got to figure this out a little better, or the team's got to move on from him in some way. But again, you've got so many guys injured, which is also the hard part. Right. But you're gonna get Edman hopefully back soon. Who else is coming back from back?
Lars Nootbaar before. There's a possibility he comes back before the end of the road trip.
Okay, good.
But more than likely it'll be when they come back to St. Louis.
Yeah.
And they make their trip back home for their whatever week it is next week.
Right.
Yeah, I think adding Nootbaar there, brings back, and even Tommy Edman. I think Tommy Edman is the big factor here. If Tommy Edman comes in off the IL, and produces and is that guy, you got to move him to the second base spot. Unfortunately, figure out what's going on with Gorman, or move on from him. One of the two. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it at this point. It's what you get. It's business. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna keep your business going necessarily if you have a guy who's not producing the way you need to. So, oh, it does suck though because Nolan Gorman is supposed to be the next big thing for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So it sucks to see him have the struggles that he is having.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it's something that maybe he can turn things around. Maybe he can figure out his swing, figure out the bats, figure out something to turn his season around. I mean, it has to at this point. If not, he's not going to be on the team.
Yeah. Right.
So, like I said, it's just one of those things. It's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You brought up the pitching for the Cardinals. And that was one thing I know Josh wanted to talk about tonight. But you're looking at two guys, Sonny Gray and Kyle Gibson, who've just been, outside of Kyle Gibson's last start, where he gave up 5 walks to the Atlanta Braves. These guys have been pretty solid this year. Kyle Gibson, I don't think he picked up a 6th win last night against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Michaelis threw tonight, and he, does his typical Miles Michaelis thing.
Right.
But how these two guys right here is just something. Are they surprising to you? At least I think Kyle Gibson's more surprising than Sonny Gray is. So this is the expectation for Sonny Gray.
Right. I mean, Sonny Gray was 3rd in the Cy Young voting last year in the American League. So this is par for the course. Kyle Gibson is a surprise.
Yeah.
I know you probably talked to Bozelic and he'd be like, I knew it all along. But we all know that like Kyle Gibson was a reclamation project, but a lot of people knew he has a decent arm. He's got good control, not swing or miss necessarily, but he gives us innings. He gives a lot of innings, in fact, more than I expected. And usually 9 times out of 10, that's going to be, you're going to get a decent win out of this guy. So these two have basically been that 1-2 combo that we've been looking for, even though Gibson, I wouldn't say he's an actual true number 2 pitcher, but he's definitely the guy we need right now. And trade deadline coming at the end of the month. So, to know that these two are in place and all they have to do is find a little more, probably more pitching, no matter what, is what they need. But
you got to find a fit kind of rotation.
Yeah, I'm definitely happy with these guys because, I mean, again, Sonny Gray's I think overall, I think he's in like the top 10 in pitching stats for the National League, and that's what we want. So,
right. Yeah, it's hard to look at some of their stats over the last couple games.
Right.
Outside of last night, for example, Kyle Gibson went 5 innings. He had 5 hits, 4 runs. The game before that was 4 innings. So his last 2 outings necessarily haven't been fantastic, but they've been enough, I would say. Game before that, he had 7 innings against Chicago, only allowed 2 hits, 0 runs. Game against Colorado, 6 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs in that one. So, it seems to be like this little bounce back. He'll have a really good game. He had a really good game against Cincinnati back in, May. On the 28th, he had 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run allowed. Then came out to his next one against Houston, went 5.2 innings pitched with 5 hits and 3 runs. So it's a little bit of that back and forth thing, and it's going to get to a point where the Cardinals offense they're going to have to do more to, especially if our pitchers are going to continue to allow 3, 4, 5 runs, which really isn't a lot in baseball. But the Cardinals offense is going to have to do more than just try to, stick out with these 3, 4, 5 run wins.
Yeah, you got to get 5+. There's got to be 6, 7 runs. Let's give these guys a little bit of a cushion, so that way when they come in and pitch 6 or 7 innings, and we're not killing our bullpen, that we're actually got a lead. But it's just, I don't know.
Yeah,
same old.
You just a little bit. I'm gonna try to pull up another guy that we're talking about here over the last couple, and it hasn't been great. And then we'll move out, close things out for the night. Is Giovanni Gallegos.
Yes.
So he pitched tonight. He didn't even he went basically one out in today's appearance. Had 2 hits, allowed 1 run, which ended up realistically, if you look at it, it's a winning run in a 5-4 loss. So His ERA is now up to 9.75 on this season. His last appearance against Cincinnati on June 27th. So he hasn't pitched in a couple of days. He had 2 back-to-back games and hasn't pitched since that June 27th game where he went 1 2/3 inning basically with 1 hit, and he ended up saving with a save. No, that's not right. That's not a save. SV. No, that can't be save. That's not right. Anyways, he was on the DL for a little bit, or IL for a little while here. His appearance before that, he went 1 inning, and then it was no hits, 0 runs in that one as well. Is this a guy that the Cardinals just need to move on from? Maybe once Riley O'Brien gets back into the bullpen.
Yeah, I think so. I think we need to package him for a trade. Like, see if we can muster up some like more effective pitching, or maybe a bench bat or just something, because this is a guy they give it every single opportunity to, and every single time he's not produced, he hasn't done any of it. And there's times where you just have to say, like, it's time to throw the trash out at some point. I'm not saying he's trash, but like, just another one of those guys that, and I don't know. I always feel like this is a testimony of the Cardinals. It always seems like they get rid of like good, talented guys too early, and then they hold on to guys without any talent too long.
Right.
And Gallegos just doesn't have it. And I think he needs a change of pace. And I hate to see these guys, fail, but, unfortunately, like the Cardinals have got to make moves to change this team, because, they're just sputtering along. They're not going over the hump that they need to. They're performing decently, but they got to be better, especially if they're going to make a dip to the playoffs.
I would agree. I think this, it's not something you can just keep hoping that, you look at a guy like Gio, and then you compare him to a guy like Nolan Gorman. They're in the same kind of boat right now.
Right.
Like, you got to figure something out one way or another. And if this way is not going to work, then you got to try a different way. And you just can't have that kind of, you're fighting for a playoff spot right now. You're in a playoff spot right now. Even though it's I know it's a wild card spot, but you still have a shot at the division.
Yeah.
You still have a shot at the division, because we all know how Milwaukee is. When they get to the second half of the season, they just explode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, not explode, implode on themselves. Yeah. So there's that chance that happens too. So I don't think it's the right time to hang on and hope guys change their ways or be better than they are, or than what they're doing right now.
And I really want them to be buyers at the trade deadline, and I hope they are.
I think they have.
And I hope they address these things. They got to be.
Yeah.
They can't if they stay pat. That's a huge mistake, and they're not going to make the playoffs.
No, because somebody will come on at the end of the season, and you can't keep playing 500 baseball. You get a win here, lost there, win here, lost there. It's not going to work.
Right.
You're not going to. Yeah. Well, maybe in the NL this year, because the NL is not very strong, but you can't keep doing that kind of stuff. It's not going to work.
No. It's
not going to work. So, pull ourselves up here really quick. James, you got anything that you'd like to add on to today's show? Let anybody know what's going
on? At the moment, no. I mean, things are good. It was great to watch a little bit of Blues hockey. Some good news there. Cardinals need to step it up, and same with City. But at the end of the day, honestly, for everyone, happy 4th of July tomorrow. Enjoy. Suck it, Britain. We got you. Yeah. So that's what I have to say there. So hopefully everyone will have a very safe 4th of July, all of you. So
yeah, I would agree. Have a safe holiday weekend. I know it's a long one for a lot of people. I know I get tomorrow and Friday off, so I'm a little stoked.
I work all week. I got a 4-day work week.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah. It's a little different, I guess.
I know it is what it is. It's fine. Fine.
But I appreciate you coming on tonight, talking some St. Louis sports with us here on the 314 Sports Show. If you haven't had a chance yet, check out all of our other content. Goodness, I couldn't say other content. You got some Blues draft recap stuff along with last week's episode of the 314 Sports Show. Some other smaller things thrown in there as well. and whatnot. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We're really my yeah, just go ahead and just do it. And we'll catch you next week.